So welcome back to the quest for 150-inch Boone and Crockett buck. Today is May 28th, I believe. I am out and about making a walk looking for deer sign, buck sign specifically, in a place that I know is a buck bed. I'm in a spot that's on the edge of a swamp. You can see the water behind me. So every step I'm taking today is looking for any kind of deer sign, but it's also very carefully looking for any kind of snakes. So what I'm in is what I know to be a buck area, a buck bed. It's on the edge of a swamp. I am looking for sheds, obviously, but needle in a haystack situation there in this kind of country. I am also looking for hookings from last year, existing paws before they're completely leafed over. You can still see them when you find. I found a couple just right up from where I'm at now. But so I'm gonna do a little scope around. You can see it's extremely thick in here, which is why the bucks like to bed in here. Now, people ask me all the time, how do you find buck beds in this part of the country? Because we're not in ag fields. In fact, there's no kind of agricultural land within probably 10 miles from here, or excuse me, 50 miles from here. I'm in an area that has a ton of bedding, thicket, uh, a lot of cover, and almost no grass type food plots. The only food plots that are around this area are the ones that I plant, because most deer hunters in this area don't even mess with a food plot. Let me switch hands. Mosquitoes are driving me nuts today. Deer flies are terrible. Ticks are also, they're out and about, probably crawling with them right now. But when people ask me what am I looking for whenever I'm looking for a buck bed, well, I specifically come in this time of the year. I get in these thickets and I look for one where a deer may have been laying down. You know, that's a telltale right there of a bedding area. But I'm in what I know is their bedding area, and I'm looking for an existing deer trail, maybe an old logging road, skid trail where they drug logs out, because this 20 acres that I'm on today has not had a human on it except for me during deer season in past 20 years since it was logged. It wasn't replanted. As you can tell, it's thick. It was cut, clear cut, and has grown up. The only decent sized trees that are here are what loggers chose not to cut when they did cut it 20 years ago. So right now I'm in here looking for any kind of deer sign. Obviously deer sheds would be great to find. I have a couple bucks from this area last year that I have not been able to. I had them on camera. I know they survived the season, but I have not been able to find their sheds. And that's common because it's needle in a haystack in this area with all the thickets we have. I have no field edges to walk the edge of looking for deer sheds. So what I'm looking for specifically today is a deer trail. And that could be on an existing skid trail where they logged out before 20 years ago. It's going to be growed up, but I'm looking for something that the deer are going to be traveling on, because deer, bucks especially, if they're in their comfort zone, they're going to be lazy. They will take the path of least resistance. When deer season comes and all of the pressure gets applied to them, they then will even hunker down tighter in those thickets and stuff. So I'm looking for an opening that I can put a ground blind in this area. As you can see, it's not climber stand. If you had a climber stand here, you would be up a creek without a paddle, because you're only going to be able to see the base of the tree that you climbed up on. But a ground blind does afford the luxury of hunting below the canopy. You know, you're 3 foot off the ground, 2.5 foot eye level if you're sitting in a chair inside a ground blind. Ground blinds are a great tool to have. Never rule them out. Yeah, you're closer to the ground, therefore you have to watch your scent control even more. But if I can find a path, a skid trail that I know the deer are going to walk, because again, they are lazy, they'll take the path of least resistance if given opportunity. And in this particular spot, I think they continue to use it even after deer season starts, because even with all the pressure around, because no one comes into this particular spot because it's simply too thick. I'm looking for a spot that I can get within 30 yards of where I think that buck is going to be come fall. Now, a spot like this, hands down, is not great to hunt during the rut. They could be chasing does through everything here. A deer can maneuver through these easily. I'm looking for the spot where I think a deer is going to be pre-rut, because once the rut happens, you're really at a disadvantage hunting a tight, thick spot like this. I mean, you can still do it. And I have done it many a times, but lesson learned. You try to hunt smarter and not harder, and find an opening that I know a deer will walk, find his sign, make a mental note of it for this fall and before the rut starts, and have me a spot placed out so that I can tiptoe in. Access is key. I don't want to tromp through here and right through the middle of their bed. I want to hunt on the edge of it if at all possible. I want to have a blind sit looking in one direction through a real small window that I think the deer are going to show up at. And the blind is handy to have with all these mosquitoes, because in the fall in this area, I mean, we'll still have 80-degree nights. Mosquitoes are a big factor and a big deterrent for a lot of people. I've actually gone into the woods hunting before and covered my whole face and any skin that's exposed with mud, just for when it does help with the scent control, but primarily just to help deter the mosquitoes from being around. And French mulberry, some people call them possum grapes. They are they have an aroma to them that also kind of deters the mosquitoes to an extent. It's Mother Nature's remedy for mosquitoes. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a logging trail or a great deer trail, very pronounced, that I can put a blind on and see within 30 yards of where I can envision seeing the deer. When that happens, I'll have cameras set up in here. Cameras, they've been a game changer for chasing big bucks. So I'll have a game camera on it. I will absolutely hunt the wind. I don't care if the buck is here any particular morning. I'm not going to come hunt him unless I know the wind is right. I'm looking for that one magical spot. I am hoping to get a blind set up. If I find that spot, a blind set up as soon as possible. Leave it, walk away, have a very, very easy trail to get into it, and hope for the best come fall. Again, this is extremely thick. A buck's number one concern, even above chasing does during the rut, is his security. So if he feels safe in an area, he'll stay in that area. My goal is to have a spot set up so that I feel like I can have my chance at him and not pressure him too much. If I pressure him too much, then he'll leave this area and go to the next thicket, which this whole place is a thicket. So he may only have to move 100 yards to be in a new spot that he feels safe in. So I'm getting my stuff done now. I don't wait until right before deer season. That's very key. If you wait till right before deer season, you're spooking deer up, you're educating the deer. It's just not the best way to plan of attack, if you will. So again, once I find that magical spot, decide where I want my blind, where I want my camera, and I absolutely will pay attention to the wind before I come and hunt this area. And I'll have many spots set up just like this. Depending on what buck is in the area will determine how much I'm going to hunt this one spot. But again, mosquitoes are terrible here. Again, hunt the wind, pay very, very close attention to that. And that's my plan of attack. It's worked out for me a lot in South Arkansas. Hope this helps. This is I don't know what video this is for request for a 150 Boone and Crockett. Again, in this county, we've never had a 170 killed, typical. So I'm looking for, I don't realistically see a 170 being killed by me for the next few years. They need time, and in this area, we have more hunters per square mile than we do deer. It's heavily hunted, but most people are lazy. They're going to take the power lines, the path of least resistance where they can drive their ATVs to. I'm looking for that out of the way spot. Um, yeah, I'm playing hunters against myself because I know most people, I know where they're going to be in this area, and they're not going to be in here. The deer will be in here, but the people will not. So I'm using that knowledge to my advantage, hunting deer based on other hunters, you know, putting their pressure and their stank on the ground, if you will. Whenever they leave a scent trail, leave a footprint, deer pay attention. Don't think they don't. So I'm looking for that magical spot. I am going to be running cameras come fall if I find that magical spot. And whenever the wind is right, I'll tiptoe in, tiptoe out, and hopefully I'll get my buck on the first hunt. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like this video if you don't mind. YouTube is giving me junk about not having enough hours watched in the past year, so I really need to improve my videos. So my viewers, even though I've got over 10,000 subscribers and I've got 18 million views, they want more. So I'm in the woods anyways. I'm just trying to run camera and capture some good footage, tell my tale, show my plight, and make this an educational video for any other hunter that's in my area that's not wanting to go to Kansas to try to kill a magical buck. Thanks for watching.